again, we're trying to be that resource where there's always something new to learn. And again, hopefully, provide some unity in our industry as well. Not that it's not uniform, but giving us a stronger sense of pride for being a part of the oil and gas industry, because constantly, outsiders are trying to, they make it sound bad. If you tell somebody, when somebody asks what I'm doing, I usually just say engineering, right?
Yeah.
And if they know enough or care enough to ask, they'll be like, oh, what type? And I'll be like, well, petroleum. And then I always watch for the reaction. We're scared sometimes to claim ownership of, to being a part of this industry. And that's partially because, we don't know how to answer the questions that they're going to throw back at us, or their concerns, or they'll be like, oh, you guys are the ones that are killing the earth. No, right? So we're trying to be that resource where, if you want to learn about the oil and gas industry, whether it's something that is somewhat, relatively technical, if you want to learn more about the ins and outs of directional drilling, and that's actually going to be part of our next episode, our episode 1 of this. But something that's more broad, like just give me the full picture of our industry.
Yeah.
Show me how everything connects. While the rig's there, and it's not a fracking rig, they don't frack while that rig's on location, stuff like this, to really provide that overview of our industry. So, trying to create all these tools and more.
Yeah. What about that story that you were down in South Texas and you're on a drilling rig?
Oh, yes.
That one day, and the rouseabout didn't know what a pump jack was.
Yeah, so I was walking around on location with the other intern, and somebody just stops us. When interns are out on site, sometimes, people find that as a come and either ask you questions or torment you, kind of kid around with you, or whatever be the case, or maybe they're completely annoyed by you being there because you're always asking questions. But anyways, there was this guy that came up to me, and he's asking what the structure was right beside the rig. And so in South Texas, on this particular pad, they actually had existing wells there, so they've been on that pad before, and they were making a revisit with the rig and drilling some more. So when you do that, a lot of times you have to actually basically take down everything on that wellhead above surface. So take it down and basically cap it off temporarily, so you have room for the rig, and so the rig doesn't cause any issues. Well, in this particular case, the well was far enough away from the new set of wells that they were drilling that they actually left the pump jack up. So you actually see the pump jack there. And this rig hand walks over to me. He's like, do you guys know what this is? He was pointing at the pump jack. I'm like, buddy, this is what you do.
Yeah.
You drill the well, and that pump jack helps produce it. So the fact that that's not being connected shows a lack, of material for him to actually go in and learn. And we're trying to not only provide that material, but also provide it in a way that's fun, that's educational. And I think as students right now, at least I can still claim that for a couple more months, as students, we know how we like to learn. And we think that, that gives us a little bit of an advantage when we're trying to create this material. We're going to create material that we would want to learn by. So it's another cool little note about Oilfield Basics. And
going off that, it's not the drilling hand's fault that he doesn't know what that is, because at his company, he's just trained and educated on his particular job, and he has to do that job well to service operator. And so it's not his fault he doesn't know, but he should know. He should be able to connect the dots that because they're drilling wells, the byproduct is eventually a pump jack will be there.
And it's interesting too how companies kind of prioritize things. Whenever you bring a new hire on, and not that we have a ton of experience on this, right? But whenever you bring somebody in, especially if they're in a field type role, a lot of times you're worried about, okay, they need this safety certification, right? So we're going to make sure they have that. We're going to make sure they don't blow themselves up out there, teach them the basic things they need to know and how to perform their job. But you don't give them the bigger sense of where their job fits into the industry.
Yeah, for sure.
So we're trying to help bridge that gap here.
Yeah, this leads to the next point is all these big tech companies and investing companies wanting to get into our industry, especially now because our industry is pretty stable, pretty healthy. But
knock on wood.
But you got all these big companies trying to get in our industry, trying to, provide all these operators something new, something more innovative. And a lot of times these companies hardly know anything about our industry, hardly know about anything about the equipment, the tools, the processes in our industry. And so this was another, example of why people need Oilfield Basics, why they need this platform, and everything like that. So Yeah, and of course, and another thing too, those companies come in and try to help us with all of our data and stuff that now as an industry we're capturing, right? They try to help us out and interpret it because we internally sometimes don't have that training, more on the technical side and the computer sides of things. So we kind of outsource it, and then whenever you do that, other industries don't know enough about our industry
to actually make meaningful models and stuff. So I've heard a couple stories of companies basically wasting money because the consulting company and stuff didn't know anything about our industry, and we're basically giving results that, saying we should control this variable when it's actually something that we can't control. So
for sure.
What we're trying to do here with Oilfield Basics is actually create a platform for discovering. So there's always something new, and there's always going to be something new for everybody to learn. So whether you are a student like us coming into the industry, there's a lot for us to learn, and you can be learning along with us. Or whether you're thinking about coming into this industry, it's going to be a great resource for you as well. Or even if you've already been in the industry for 20 years, there's, and again, you've kind of specialized, like you pretty much have to, right? So you're going to get to learn about the other parts and aspects of the industry. And basically, everybody has their own little tiny piece of the industry. Little tiny piece. And I was told basically from day one, you're never going to know it all. You can never learn it all about the oil and gas industry. And that's incredibly true. And so what we're trying to do is let everybody share, or at least enable everybody who can, share their little piece of the industry. And if we can create a community and a platform where people can share their little pieces of the industry, and we have an easy way for people to capture that and hear it and discover it for themselves, that's a very powerful platform.
Yeah, for sure.
And so basically we're enabling you guys, our audience. So, we can discuss, the things we know, and then we'll hit a limit. We definitely need you guys on board with this, and we need, you guys contributing as well. So we all have a little piece, and we're all trying to share it. So that's the platform we're trying to make. And this is something that, in order to capture this material, the companies have, especially like companies that manufacture products or provide services and stuff. So we're looking more on the service side, especially for those types of companies to actually work with us. And to maybe create a course. If you have material that's comprehensive enough, we can create a course with you. Basics of frac. What a frac hand should know if he's being hired on. Right. Here's the blender. Here's the missile. The hydration unit. All these kind of stuff. And providing all this together for them to take and learn, so they get their fuller. Everybody has presentations, right? So if you're a geologist sitting at work working for an operator, I'm pretty sure you've got a basic level presentation about the basin that you work in.
Yeah.
So something like that, something that you would give, a presentation to even the community, like you have a town hall or something like that, or some type of public forum, or some kind of meeting. We're trying to also take presentations that people have in existence and provide them an opportunity to give it on our platform.
Yes, that kind of leads into the main components of Oilfield Basics. And so, foremost, what we're doing now is a podcast. And so that's going to be a main component that we're going to talk about later in this podcast. But also another aspect is webinars. And so if you're someone that has, more material than we could fit on a podcast, and maybe we could film a webinar and you could share, visually your information as well as via audio. And so that could be a great option. And that's something that we're exploring. And also lastly, like Derek mentioned before, is developing courses like Flowco had before. They've got intro to gas lift and an intro to plunger lift course right now that we have people signing up for. And so this is great for students that are taking production class, or operators that just got hired on and wanting to know what this thing sticking on top of the wellhead is. Well, it's a lubricator. So those are kind of the main components of Oilfield Basics right now: the podcast, webinars, and courses.